Rookie head coach Doug Peterson off to a perfect 3-0 start, coming off a bye week. Jim Caldwell's Lions have lost 3 in a row. They try and end that today. Let's check in downstairs with Peter Schrager.
Hey, Tom, look, the Eagles had a week 4 bye. So what does a star rookie quarterback do with a week off? In the case of Carson Wentz, he went back home. He was in Fargo, North Dakota. He attended the NDSU football game, and then he went deer hunting, and he scored an 8-point buck with a crossbow. I'm told that's very good, Tom. Yeah, by Wednesday, back in the facility, 5 a.m., and he had donuts waiting for his veteran linemen.
And they've done an outstanding job for Wentz. By and large, they've kept him upright. He has not turned the ball over yet this season, which is just staggering. Of course, maybe it's becoming the norm, the way the rookie quarterbacks are playing around the NFL. Philadelphia won the toss. Will get the football to begin the second half. So Sturgis puts a foot on it and boots it through into the end zone, where Roberts takes a knee. And out to the 25 comes a veteran quarterback, Matthew Stafford. Today makes his 87th consecutive start. 170 career touchdown passes, a Lions all-time record. He has rewritten the Detroit Lions record book for quarterback play, completions, yards, touchdowns, you name it. He's in the top. Now the Lions are missing some big-time pieces to this team on both sides of the ball. Give you a look at their starting lineup here in a minute, but the one guy they're going to try and get started today is Golden Tate. First down, Theo Riddick tries to turn the corner, run out of bounds. Nice pickup on first down, a gain of 6. They're missing Eric Ebron. He's had to leave the last 2 games in points in time with an ankle injury, a knee injury, and now they're without another running back in Dwayne Washington.
And I think for them, wanting to run the football is paramount, but will they have the patience to stay with it if they don't have early success? That first run, that's what they're looking for throughout the game.
Jim Bob Cooter, the offensive coordinator, you may remember he replaced Joe Lombardi after 7 games last year. This offense really took off. First throw, and it's complete across the middle, and that's been the favorite target so far as Stafford. In his first year as a Lion is Marvin Jones, close to midfield.
You can tell by the split of Marvin Jones Jr., number 11. You cannot give up that inside on the slant route, especially man coverage, because the middle of the field is vacated, and Matthew Stafford is too accurate with the football to miss that wide open throw to the second leading receiver in the whole league.
Yeah, and it took a 300-yard receiving game by Julio Jones for Jones to leapfrog Marvin Jones. They hand it off to Riddick. He should be very busy today. And this is a nice start. I know it's only 3 plays, but a real nice start for a slumping Lions team. Defensively, the former head coach here in Detroit, for 5 years, he was turned loose at the end of 2013, is Jim Schwartz, and what a difference he's making for this Eagles defense.
He wants them to play all out, on the edge, without getting dumb penalties. They'll play situational, aggressive football. And so far, it's worked almost to perfection. Just giving up 9 points per game. That's first in the league.
And only 52 plays a game, Charles, which leads the league. That's why they're so improved on defense.
That's Golden Tate in the backfield. They pitch it to Tate, and he cuts it back up the middle and just tripped up before a huge gain, but it's another first down.
Well, welcome back from the witness protection program, Golden Tate. Man, he's got to be a factor for this Lions offense to operate at its fullest, and you create ways to get him the ball.
And we talked about this at the top, Tom. You mentioned it. Getting Golden Tate going was paramount for them. And notice what they did. They brought him back in the backfield to make sure he touched it right away. Remember, he's one of the best receivers yards after catch over the last 3 years. You've got to get him moving. That's the way to get it started.
Stafford to throw, good protection, and he underthrows with an eye on Golden Tate. You know, some are wondering what's wrong with Tate. He had 1 reception. Last week was benched. Over his last 3 games, just 7. There was this miscommunication, which led to an interception. Matthew Stafford was very upset. And we saw very little Golden Tate in the second half of that game.
Yeah, in fact, go ahead, G. Chris.
Well, I'm just thinking that, mental errors cannot be a problem. And if he's frustrated because Marvin Jones is coming in and lighting it up, and Golden Tate has led this team in receptions the previous 2 years.
He's averaged better than 90 catches per season since coming to Detroit 3 years ago. Riddick the other way. Lots of daylight in front and finally run out of bounds by Rodney McLeod. But this has been a dormant Lions running game since Amir Abdullah went down.
But this is well blocked. Look what they do at the point of attack. See how they seal it right there? Look at that. On the right tackle, Corey Robinson, who came into the game as an extra offensive lineman. So Riddick was able to see it and make the cut back against the grain because they'd sealed that right edge.
Just to go a little bit deeper, an offensive line that sustains blocks is the key to a running game. He's sustained.
We got Golden Tate in the backfield again after a 17-yard run by Riddick.
Everything's a setup, Tom. They put him in the backfield. They set something up.
They're going to pitch it to him. Cuts it back to the inside. Spins away from one tackle. But then is finally corralled by the Detroit native Brandon Graham. He threw him to the deck. Now, we talked about Abdullah, who was injured in week 2. The first 2 games of the year, the Lions were averaging 127 rushing yards per game, and they were among the worst rushing teams in the league a year ago. But look at the last 2 games.
Abdullah gives them that flash, that dash, that ability to make people miss at the point of attack and get into the secondary. They need more of that from Riddick, and obviously they're trying it with Golden Tate early in this game. Yeah, Riddick split out here.
Nice play of this drive. Good protection again. And that ball thrown behind Andre Roberts drops him in another problem. Look, when you're 1-3, there are more than just one single problem.
Yeah, you know what you become? A team of almost. That was almost a good play. That was almost a good catch. But as a professional wide receiver, that ball hits your hands. You catch it. Now, it could have been a little bit more accurate, but that's a catch that he has to make. And he's a guy that they want to get the ball into his hands because of his explosiveness.
If we're staying with almost, then we're playing horseshoes, right?
Yeah,
almost is good enough, but not in football.
Or grenades.
Either one.
Saw the 10 drops most among all teams in the NFL. Out another there. 3rd down and 11. They're coming after Stafford, and he guns it across the middle. And it's caught by the veteran Anquan Boldin inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal Lions.
Well, this is why I think Matthew Stafford's a top 5 talent in the National Football League. Watch him climb the pocket, sets his feet, people in his face, and delivers a strike, Charles.
And look at the route by Anquan Boldin. What's the word we use with him all the time? Physical, right? You see how physically he ran that route, where he wouldn't allow himself to be jammed off the line of scrimmage and then pushed himself away from the receiver. Look at this formation.
Look at this formation is right. And of course, they run it. When you split 4 to the right, quarterback keeper, and he's bottled up right at the 1-yard line, led by the free agent free safety Rodney McLeod. 2nd and goal.
You said everything's a setup, right, Chris?
Yeah.
So when they showed that formation, they were trying to get everyone's eyes to that formation. They wanted to come back to Marvin Jones one-on-one by himself on the nub side of the formation.
Well, when you have a guy like Marvin Jones who knows how to find the football, it's not there. I thought it was a good decision by Stafford to pull it because he's powerful when he runs the football, deceptively powerful.
Bringing the fullback Michael Burton, and they go out of the shotgun on 2nd and goal. And it is a touchdown for Theo Riddick. Rickett is 2nd receiving touchdown of this season, and the 8th thrown by Stafford.
The best receiving tight end, running back in the National Football League. Anytime you can put Theo Riddick on a linebacker like they did with Kendricks, it's a mismatch. The radar goes up for Stafford, the lights go on, and they're already celebrating the touchdown because they know that no linebacker can cover him one-on-one.
Even if you didn't call it, you audible to it because Michael Kendricks has struggled the last couple of years in coverage in space.
And let's not forget, there's not been a single game he has struggled in coverage and in space, and trying to stay with Riddick last Thanksgiving when the Lions just demolished the Eagles 45-14. What a start for Detroit on the opening drive of the game. Coach Caldwell mighty excited. Those touchdown drives have been few and far between, but what a nice start. And really, it's hard to call it a must-win game, fellas. You're playing your 5th game of the year. This has a feel of a must-win game.
I'm going to call it a must-win game because they're regressing. They're not progressing. Right there, it does a lot for the confidence. And just real quick,
As Josh Huff, we'll get back to that thought, Chris, in a minute. Huff able to pick it up. And he's out to the 17-yard line.
it's a better performance by Jim Bob Cooter, the offensive coordinator, who last week felt like he called an awful game. And right there, he mixed it well and made the decision to get Golden Tate involved early, and that only helps their whole offense as Carson Wentz takes the field.
23 years old, out of Bismarck, North Dakota, undefeated, has thrown 5 touchdowns, no interceptions through 3 games. 2 weeks ago in the rout of the Steelers, became the first rookie in NFL history to not throw an interception in his first 100 pass attempts. Dak Prescott of the Cowboys would join him a week later. And it's Ryan Matthews, who injured his ankle 2 weeks ago. Only had a couple of carries last week and a good start up to the 22-yard line. You know, the Eagles are so excited that they've won the last 2 without one of their big weapons, who returns today, the tight end Zach Ertz.
Had a chance to chat with him in pregame. Says he feels very good, excited about getting back on the field. And Zach Ertz, he's listed as a tight end, but they use him more like a slot receiver. A guy can get down the middle of the field, stretch things, and get into the seams and make big catches.
Easy throw to Matthews out of the backfield, and he is tripped up by Kyle Van Noy, 2 yards shy of a first down. Defensively, the Lions have given up 12 touchdowns, 6 thrown to opponents' tight ends, and so many key pieces still out. Ansah, Levy, they get Tavon Wilson and Antoine Williams back for Terrell Austin.
And they'll get Kerry Hyder in. Now, normally lining up outside on this particular play, they're going to line up inside to get some type of inside pressure. Right here, 61, Kerry Hyder.
Off in motion, they hand it to him, and he'll get a first down and then some. He is wrapped up and tackled all the way up to the 35-yard line by Quandre Diggs. That's a nice call.
So we just saw the Detroit Lions get Golden Tate going. Brought him back in the backfield, handed it to him twice. Josh Huff is much more of a running back than he is a receiver. That's what he played most of his high school career, a little bit of that in college. They want it in his hands fast and let him become the running back that he is, and that jet sweep served that purpose.
That's the offense of the league. Get the ball in that playmaker's hands as soon as possible and let them do work. Like that.
And Aguilar, second-year, former #1 pick out of USC, with a gain of close to 5 on first down.
You know, we talked about Carson Wentz and the quick start, and here's the reason why. Play calling by Doug Peterson. Their quick game is excellent, and they execute it well. They don't force anything, and they don't get away from it. They stay very patient with that. That's why he's so accurate.
And you know, they trust him so much so early that if I think if the Lions press him early, they come up and play press and the safeties are shallow, they'll throw something deep early. They trust this kid right now.
They're listening to you.
Taken one way, they roll it the other. This might be Aguilar down the field. And a dangerous throw, and nearly the first career interception thrown by Wentz, is batted away by Nevin Lawson.
He has not put the ball in harm's way very often in his young career. This is really nice coverage by Lawson. Look at him right in the hip pocket and able to get his head back around and see the football, which often doesn't happen with defensive backs. They're so involved in coverage that they rarely get their heads around and see the football. Nevin Lawson made a play on it and helped knock it away.
Darren Sproles checks into the backfield, had 6 catches for 128 yards, including a 73-yard touchdown reception in the rout of Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago. Third and 5, 4-man rush. And Wentz sacked. Back at the 37-yard line. Armonte Bryant just brought on board this weekend on that sack.
That's him here on the outside, but watch him work back inside against Jason Peters. What he did was just fall back. You talked about inside pressure, Chris. They got some there.
And for a defense in the secondary that's been giving up 70% completion rate, outstanding coverage, and right now the Lions feel very confident in matching up their skill against the Eagles' skill.
So the offense got off to the great start, and then the defense helped them out. Exactly what they've been looking for. Can the defense help their offense?
Andre Roberts had an 85-yard punt return for a touchdown last week against Chicago. Fair catch here. The Eagles are unbeaten. The Lions desperately needing a win. 7-0 home team. Going to look at Frank Reich, longtime NFL quarterback, now the offensive coordinator of the Eagles, and really like a second offensive coordinator is a backup Chase Daniels.
He's in his ear all the time. The first guy Carson Wentz looks to and helps run the meetings each morning when the quarterbacks get together.
First carry of the game for Zach Zenner. And he's wrapped up by Brandon Graham.
So when you don't have a running game that's consistent, you bring in an extra offensive lineman as he's coming off the field right now. But that's just an adjustment that Coach Caldwell and Coach Cooter have been doing. Anything to get this going, so you try to get different formations and different personnel matchups. That time the Eagles were able to answer with the unbalanced look.
You know what else I think, Chris? I think they're going to run the ball without running it, too. Get the ball out to their guys in space with short passes that are essentially run plays.
Quick throw and the catch made by Marvin Jones Jr. He's slung down to the ground at the 32-yard line, but that's good enough for a first down.
And that's just your point right there. And quite frankly, that's the NFL today, because the athletes, and you're seeing the evolution we saw in college of running backs or slot receivers that have running back skill. So it only makes sense to get them the ball in space and let them do their work. And it also forces a defense to play man-to-man. And if you feel like you can beat them man-to-man, run it all day.
Fake it to Zenner, blitz coming, and they come across the middle, and the flag comes down. It looked like Carroll was draped all over Anquan Boldin right at the 40-yard line.
Pass interference, number 22, defense, automatic, first down.
You know, it's tough when a linebacker is actually running routes. And that's what Anquan Boldin does. Watch number 80 in blue. He is so strong and physical that makes it hard. Look at Nolan Carroll trying to hang in there and hold on to him. And look at Boldin just continue to progress downfield and run through it. And because he was able to do that, that brought the attention of the officials to him. He can see he's trying to impede his progress. Easy flag.
7th first down already for Detroit. And we're just under 5 minutes to play in the first quarter. Center wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage by the former #1 pick out of Louisville, Marcus Smith. Of course, baseball now in the month of October. Tomorrow, National League Division Series Game 3. The Cubs up 2 games to none. Will go to San Francisco and face Madison Bumgarner. Postseason continues tomorrow on FS1. Of course, Clayton Kershaw, Dodgers standout, grew up with Matthew Stafford in Highland Park, Texas, just outside of Dallas. I wonder what kind of basketball team they have. A couple of good athletes, but one playing football, the other baseball. That one is underthrown, and a flag is down right at the line of scrimmage on the far side of the field.
And the Eagles jumped a little bit, so Matthew knew he had a free play.
Defense, offside, number 97, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
So this is what puts pressure on a defense, is what we're watching. When you're establishing the running game, and you don't have to get 8 yards a pop. As long as it's a threat of a running game, you force Jim Schwartz right there in your picture to make adjustments. If you have a little bit of success, what they're starting to do now, which they don't like to do, is bring 5- and 6-man pressures.
Yeah, he wants to rush for and play games in the secondary with his 7 guys dropping. If you have to force those guys to come forward, it changes what he does back deep, and now you find more gaps to throw the football into.
There's that unbalanced look again, Tom, number 70 right here.
It's Corey Robinson. He's getting a lot of playing time through the first quarter of this game, more than he's had all year long. This is Zenner, who was a college free agent a year ago, led the NFL in rushing during the preseason. They were very excited about him. Charles, remember when we had the Lions early on, and then unfortunately he was injured in the 6th game of the year and was through for the year.
Broken rib, collapsed lung. He was the sensation of preseason in 2015.
And he's a tough guy, but he's their number 4 running back because Dwayne Washington, outstanding rookie from Washington, had a great preseason, is out with an ankle.
And of course that's on the heels, as we brought up earlier, of Abdullah. So a 3rd down and 4. 4-man rush, 5-man rush. They get Bolden, and in traffic, that's where he uses that big, strong body to make the catch and hang on and move the chains.
Well, to your point, Tom, we've talked about how strong Bolden is, but watch the protection up front. You mentioned the 5-man rush, and Chris had talked about it before. It really became a 4 because they pulled Hicks out of the rush and into coverage.
So you're playing 2-man. And so when you play 2-man as a defense, he should not be open underneath because you have 2 safeties deep and you play trail technique underneath to prevent that route. That was a lack of execution by the back end of the Eagles.
Another little delay, and again to Zimmer. And center is dropped right at the line of scrimmage, led by Brandon Graham. A homecoming for Graham. He went to Detroit's Crockett Tech High School. Came out of the University of Michigan. You know, they moved him from defensive end to linebacker, now back to defensive end. And for more on him, here's Peter.
Hey, Zach Zenner, you know, you've got North Dakota State, Carson Wentz, he's a proud of South Dakota State. 3-time consensus All-American in the FCS subdivision, guys.
Peter, he was over 2,000 yards his last 2 years in school rushing, junior and senior year, and was a sensation at the East West All-Star game.
2nd down and 12. Stafford flushed out of the pocket. This guy can run now. And he slides down for a 1st down, and a flag comes in. 2 of them come in. That may tack on another 15 to Rodney McLeod.
Point of emphasis this year, anytime that guy goes into the baseball slide, no touching allowed. Stay away. Yeah, you don't blame Rodney McLeod. You know why?
Unnecessary roughness. Hitting a defenseless player sliding in the head area. 15 yards, automatic 1st down.
And you know, you can get on him a little bit, but Matthew Stafford has been known, as we watched recently in the past few weeks, of lowering that shoulder and taking fools out.
Yeah, you're talking about a Tennessee game in the season opener. Parrish Cox tried to take him on, and he ran over him before he took a big hit later on. So,
hey, Harbaugh used to do that with the Bears.
Listen, is that a surprise?
No, I got 15 yards because I hit him because I said last time you tried to run me over. So I'm defenseless. I'll put a flag on him next time.
He must be still being mad at it, at everybody, because you know what he did to Rutgers last night. Back in the game is Riddick, and he's inside the 20, down to the 17-yard line. Fletcher Cox named the NFC's Defensive Player of the Month in on the tackle.
Well, you see Jim Bob Cooter there, so one thing I'm thinking of is you're talking about this running game, Chris. Another thing that the running game is doing, as we see their total offense, is it's chewing up clock time. This is only the 3rd drive of the game, and we're almost out of the 1st period, and Detroit's had the ball most of the 1st period. So that's also a good thing for them, keeping Carson Wentz in the offense on the sidelines.
Please note, players get in rhythm, play callers get in rhythm, and he's in rhythm.
They fake it one way to Tate, and how about this? It is Riddick into the end zone for his 2nd touchdown. What a fake that was with Tate in the backfield.
Absolutely gorgeous. Watch the center, too. Watch the center, Swanson. He's going to pull. Look at him get out.
And what do we talk about, guys? Everything's a setup, right? So Golden Tate, the first 2 times he was in that position, they ran the toss. That time they threw the fake flare screen. You sneak Riddick out the backside. Everybody's looking at Golden Tate. Riddick's open on the backside all day. That's what play callers are in rhythm. You're watching it.
You have your play calls, you have your counters. And there was the counter there. And boy, it worked to perfection.
Matt Prater, the point after, and it is good. What a start for this desperate Detroit Lions team. They won their first game of the season. They've lost 3 in a row. 14-0. Welcome to downtown Detroit, Michigan. Get a look at Ford Field. And Jim Bob Cooter and Matthew Stafford have to like what they see so far.
Totally in sync. And you were talking about Stafford in basketball earlier, Tom. He and Matt Ryan play on a co-ed basketball team together with their wives in a church league back in Atlanta. Won the league championship last year.
Well, then that
How about
answers the
that?
question.
Now you know. Matthew Stafford can hoop.
Pair of touchdown receptions by Theo Riddick here in the opening quarter, under a minute to go in it. And the Lions out to a 14-0 lead, and Wentz to turn around and hand it off to Ryan Matthews. And he's tripped up after a gain of 4. The 2 touchdowns by a Detroit running back, in this case Riddick. First time a Lions running back has had a pair in a single game, going all the way back to Horace King.
Didn't he play back there with Billy Sims?
Pretty good running back, Billy Sims.
Not so bad. Remember Billy Sims' rookie year? Ran it, caught it. If he doesn't hurt a knee, we're talking about big-time numbers.
And then a guy who came after him there in Detroit.
Yeah, some kid named Sanders. So they went Oklahoma running back, then they went Oklahoma State.
You hear me?
They turned them out back in that country.
Indeed. Play action, and Wentz escapes trouble. Drops it off out of the backfield, and that's Matthews again. And run out of bounds close to midfield at the 47-yard line, a first down.
Again, this is a team of almost Kyle Van Noy, who's up here at the top of your screen, is going to come in late. But Carson Wentz, one of the things is composure, right? There's Van Noy missing. Look at the eyes, get right back downfield to find an open receiver. Didn't think about running the football. Let me get the ball into the hands of my playmakers. Exactly what he did.
That's the end of the opening quarter. 14-0 Lions. The NFL on Fox continues after a word from your local Fox station. Set to begin the second quarter. 14-0 Lions, and on a first down, Wentz finds an open receiver for another first down, and that's Ertz, his first game back in 3 weeks. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee, a game break in Los Angeles.
Speaking of first game back, Tom Brady back for the first time after that 4-game suspension. Touchdown pass to Martellus Bennett. 2 drives, he's led him to 2 touchdowns, and New England's up 14-7 in Cleveland. Tom and the rest of you guys.
Just doesn't miss a beat, does he?
No.
It's unbelievable.
The whole franchise doesn't miss a beat.
Frankly, you would have been surprised if he did.
Catch by Ertz, his first of the afternoon. Another first down, and again they're going to throw it. They look one way, and they find Ertz on an easy pass, a gain of 5 on first down.
It's a perfect example of what we talked about in the open. What does he have that a lot of other quarterbacks don't have at his stage? Patience. Not trying to force it, and knowing right away where the number 2 option was with Ertz sitting over the middle of the ball. That's where he's excelled, that's where he's mature, and that's why he is where he is today, the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles.
And don't you see the trust from the coaches in him? Because normally a rookie quarterback down 14, you want to run the ball and take pressure off. They're letting him throw it to ease the pressure.
That's Huff in motion, and then they hand it off. First carry for Sproles, and he's inside the 25 all the way down to the 21-yard line. Sproles just 19 carries the entire year, and that is his longest of 15 yards.
Well, look, I played linebacker a long time. Those little guys, they're really good inside runners for one reason and one reason only. You can't find them. They had Miles Killebrew, the safety, up playing linebacker, and if I'm the Eagles, that's my point of attack because he's not used to playing the run against any type of inside run.
Well, you must not have played against very many little guys. You're the all-time Lions leading tackler.
He found him. Somehow he found him.
That's right.
He zeroed in.
Fake it to Sproles, and Wentz is going to run it. And he will run out of bounds, and that's exactly what his coach wants him doing. He can't run it. Charles, this is something you talked about back when this guy was coming out of college.
Yeah, and remember, he's not sneaky athletic, folks. He's athletic. So kill the stereotype. And there he is out the back door. Chris, you've made the point throughout this game that we have counters to all plays, right? There's setups, right? What did they run on the play before? They ran it to Sproles, and Wentz carried out the fake. This time he pulled it and kept it, something you'll see him do more and more as the season goes on. And to your point, Tom, got out of bounds, didn't take a hit.
Another first down. Eagles knocking on the door at the Detroit 12. Crossing pattern and an easy catch for Dorial Green-Beckham. They picked him up in a deal from Tennessee. It was only a year ago that this mountain of a man for a wide receiver was a second-round pick by Tennessee.
And they list him at 6'5", 237. He probably runs sub 4.4. If you look at the red zone numbers here.
defense has struggled, and the area they struggle with is covering tight ends and miscommunication problems. Let's see if they fixed it for this week's game against the Eagles.
And play the drive. That's Earth just to the left of the left tackle, Jason Peters.
75.
Play clock down to 2.
Who you marking?
They don't get it off. What happened?
Great game. Offense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
You mentioned communication issues on Detroit's side. This time it flipped to Philadelphia, something they haven't had much trouble with, even with a rookie quarterback.
Wentz, instead of clapping his hands in a panic, and here's the miscommunication. He's trying to get him lined up.
Sproles trying to get the play.
He's clapping his hands in a panic. Put your hands up and call a timeout. First half, you can afford to take a timeout and not lose that yardage. Mental error by Carson Wentz.
A tough in motion. They're going to hand it off to Sproles, and he is down at the 1-yard line, and that'll be good enough for a first down. First and goal inside the 2 for Darren Sproles.
So what's that you said about smaller guys as inside runners? Watch how it gets blocked up front, though. Look at that. Look at that crease that they created right there. They gave him the gap. That was Kelsey, 62, and Barber, 76, doing a really nice job creating a hole.
And Quandre Diggs going to his wrong run responsibility. They ended up having 2 guys in one gap down the field. He blocked himself.
Those are those run fits that we talk about all the time. He fit in the wrong gap.
They fake it and throw it, and that is a touchdown to Ryan Matthews. Carson Wentz, his 6th touchdown pass of the year. And for Matthews, that's only his 2nd catch all season long.
There's a combination coverage right here. This is easy football 101. Right there, Miles Killigrew, the rookie, makes a mental error. That tight end releases inside. His rule is first outside receiver, which was Matthews. So, what do we have? The same problem with the Lions defense is a communication problem down in the red zone. If you have a communication problem in the red zone, that equals 6 points in the back end.
Point after is good by Sturgis. So the Eagles on the board, down by 7. Small screen, stadium-sized content. Watching live local Sunday games right on your smartphone with NFL Mobile.
I think we got to define small screen, though, because I'm seeing some of these phones now. They're not so tiny anymore. They're going back to those big sizes. And when you have 51-year-old eyes like me, you like those.
Oh, yeah. 14-7 with 10:21 to play until halftime. Key combination, Stafford to Riddick has it going today. No, you can't get much better than that. The start for each of these quarterbacks today. By the way, the 2 touchdown passes thrown by any quarterback against Philadelphia this year. The first 2 touchdown passes surrendered by this Eagles defense. On first down, they pitch it to Riddick. And a big gain for Riddick. And what a start he's off to here today. 5 carries. Closing in on 50 rushing yards.
Well, my man Charles Davis played safety. And when you get a crackback on a safety, which the Lions did, right here the corner has to replace. And if there's no corner replace and he gets cut down, Nolan Carroll, right, Charles?
You have no help at all then. Now you've got free access to the secondary. And for those who wonder if the fullback is going out of the game totally, there's a reason this keep happening. You see that block right there? That was Michael Burton, fullback, knocking down Nolan Carroll.
Riddick stays in the game. They play action here. Well, that's a dangerous throw right there in traffic. Leotis McKelvin in coverage. It's his first game back after missing the last 2 injured.
So we saw earlier, all right, watch the coverage. They've had a penalty against them for tight coverage. Talk about the Eagles trying to guard Anquan Bolden. On that one, that's a ball that Golden Tate has a chance to come down with, even though McKelvin gets a hand up trying to
delay to Riddick, and read beautifully by by Benny Logan. They were wondering if he'd be able to play this week. He's been bothered by a tender calf, and the big fella's going to trot on over to the sideline for this 3rd down and 11.
And as we start this second quarter, guys, I thought the first quarter really couldn't have gone much better for Detroit. Got the fast start they wanted, got out to a 14-0 lead. And we see the easy confidence of this Philadelphia team that's 3-0, not panicked, came back and cut the lead in half on their last drive.
Need to get to the 48 for a first down. And Stafford to Riddick. Tries to break a couple of tackles, and it depends on the spot of the football. You know, did the knee hit the ground before the rest of the body came down?
I think it's a good spot for a first down for Detroit.
It's very close.
It's right on it.
And I say you go for it, by the way, if it is 4th down, because you start playing to win.
There you talk about the knee, Tom. I thought it came down about the same time as the elbow.
This is why Theo Riddick was the most valuable player on this team and why he's signed a big contract. He's about a half a yard short, according to that look.
But was it spotted a half?
Yeah, I got to tell you, it wasn't spotted a half a yard.
That's the difference. I don't think it was spotted where he came down. If I'm Philadelphia and I'm watching, I might want to challenge that spot, because I think he got an extra bit of yardage there to get him the first down from where he came down.
And the challenge flag has been thrown by Doug Peterson. I mean, that is clearly well short of the 48-yard line where his elbow came down with the ball. This has been a lengthy wait.
And the reason is, as you see Theo Riddick stretch out, that's where he comes down. Remember, the yellow line, this is the first down marker, is unofficial. But unofficially, I thought he was short, but he got an excellent spot, which I thought was, we think, Chris, about a half yard ahead.
Short. Yeah, absolutely. And Connor Barwin coming off of his pass rush to make a tackle downfield is the type of effort you want.
All right, the verdict is in.
Oh, they're moving it back. That's a little
After
strong the other
reviewing
way.
the runner was down at the 47-yard line. The ball will be placed there. 4th down.
All right, I want to get to this real quick. That decision has been made. Chris, you said you'd go for it. Would you go for it, Charles, here in midfield in the second quarter?
I would, because this team came out with an aggressive attitude and had a spark early. I don't want to blunt it now. Earlier this year, they didn't go for it near midfield against Tennessee. Punted it. Looked like it was a good strategy. The first play, DeMarco Murray goes 66 yards and blunts the strategy. I put it in the hands of my offense.
All right. 4th down in less than a yard. High formation. And will they even snap the ball? They do, and Stafford picks up the first down. So they go for it at midfield with 8 minutes to go in the first half, and they convert.
So there's a difference between playing to win and playing not to lose. Right now they're playing to win. There's a natural bubble right there. A lot of times that's up to the quarterback on whether he wants that ball snapped and he calls for it hot. If he sees that natural bubble and you get a push like that, Matthew Stafford made an audible to sneak it himself and get it. That's playing to win as opposed to playing not to lose. There is a difference.
And there's nearly 230 pounds of Matthew Stafford moving forward, and he knows what he's doing after the time he's had in the league. That was well executed by Detroit.
Turn around and hand it to Riddick. Tries to cut it back to the inside. That is played beautifully defensively, and it started by Nolan Carroll. 2nd down.
I do think, Chris and Tom, that with Detroit and their running game, they have to continue to be as creative as they were in the first quarter. Running Theo Riddick between the tackles is just not going to get you a whole lot as a general rule. And I think you blunt his effectiveness in the passing game if he's taking too many hits. Use him more effectively, get him out wide, some bubble screens with him, maybe even as a wide receiver, he comes back inside, and continue to do the things they did with Golden Tate earlier.
So a center checks into the backfield. Riddick to the sideline on this 2nd down. Stafford steps out of trouble, lays it off to Bolden. He's still on his feet and has a first down to the 38-yard line, and we quickly send it to Los Angeles to our good friend Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. Everyone wondered what Tom Brady was going to do in his return. Here you go. Second quarter, the Patriots were up 16-7. Then his second touchdown pass to Martellus Bennett on the day puts the Patriots up 23-7. Cody Kessler was injured for the Browns. Charlie Whitehurst is now under center. Tom?
What is that, number 4? TB, that's number 4, isn't it?
Oh, man.
Whatever you do, you don't want to put Cleveland Browns quarterback on your resume right now. I mean, you just don't.
No,
You get injured.
there are more names that can fill up a T-shirt. We've seen that before. Screen set up to center. And he has another Lions first down inside the 20. And again, that's that big center out there, Travis Swanson, leading the way.
Athletic men in space and big men in space to be able to get blocks, but they got him guessing right now. And that's the thing. Even though they're not getting 5 yards of pop on the ground, the Eagles are still forced to honor that. So you set up the screen passes, and it's a clear game plan by Jim Bob Cooter to throw short, get the ball in play, don't have to throw deep all the time, and get the ball into the playmakers' hands and let them do their work, and so far they have.
And remember, this is a Lions team today. We knew that there would be no Amir Abdullah, but no Eric Ebron. Hand off to center, and he's inside the 15, down to the 14-yard line. 5 minutes and counting until halftime. Third Lions drive. They have scored touchdowns on each of their first 2.
And guys, from watching tape, this feels like the first time this season, this Eagles defense a little bit off balance.
Yep.
All right, they're not quite sure which gap to go through, where to go. They're hitting them in different ways. They're doing running plays that aren't running plays like the screen we saw to Zenner. Then they hit them with the quick hitter inside.
Well, that center being covered by a linebacker at the bottom of your screen. Stafford looking in that direction, and now we'll just throw it away.
Stafford's having a conversation with Zenner.
Yeah.
Because Zenner ran the wrong route. Because he's out there on Kendricks. And right there, see, he ran the wrong route because he wasn't going to Zenner. He's going to Marvin Jones. The problem is Zenner brought 2 defenders to Marvin Jones.
He wants Zenner out of there.
Yeah.
He wanted him out. And you know what else, too? This is what you lose with running backs in space that don't do it very often. On the scramble, Zenner didn't know what to do in order to get open downfield as well and present himself. He became just a dead target.
Well, now you've got Riddick over the top of your screen, and early movement. Now, was it on Detroit?
False start. Number 71 offense, 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
It's Riley Reef, the right tackle. He's moved from the left side to the right side after the drafting of the rookie Taylor Decker over on the left.
This is where the Lions are missing a threat at the tight end position, and Eric Ebron, who's been out. You have Cole Wick in there, the rookie, but they're not using him. Instead, they're going to their 4 package or 4 wide receivers.
Can Anquan Boldin be that guy as an inside guy right here?
Find out.
4-man rush. Stafford in trouble. And down he goes, but a penalty flag comes along as well. Fletcher may have been the man who rips the helmet off of Matthew Stafford.
Personal foul. Grabbing the helmet opening defense. After this to the goal. Automatic first down.
Boy, that's a huge play.
Let's see as Stafford tries to exit. Looks like, as you mentioned, Tom, Fletcher Cox, number 91, did it before Connor Barwin hit him. And that's where the penalty went. And that negated some really good coverage downfield by Philadelphia.
And I'm going to tell you again, I think Bolden ran the wrong route right there because he and Marvin Jones
Together.
were within 3 yards. And that's why Stafford had to pull that ball down. And one thing about it, people love Matthew Stafford or hate him. I'm on the love you thing because I think he's really good. But you could never question that man's toughness.
No doubt about that. You know, many wondered his first year or 2 in the league when he got hurt a lot. Well, he's starting his 87th consecutive game today. And he's been hit a lot. This is Golden Tate. And he's inside the 1-yard line.
And that's
Third carry already for the wide receiver Golden Tate.
I think this will go down as a pass completion, Tom. See that little
Right.
toss forward? That becomes a forward pass. So that goes on record as a completion and a catch for Golden Tate. Look at him set up the block there by Warford, 75. He made 2 nice moves on Barwin, which allowed Warford to get in his way before McLeod makes the initial tackle, and he's finished off there by Bradham.
A little detail, but you see him cover the ball with 2 hands upon contact. That's an experienced player.
Center in the backfield to the left of Stafford. Second down and goal. They're looking for Bolden. He's covered. They come back the other way, and it's a touchdown for Marvin Jones Jr.
Okay, they were trying to run Bolden out here and use a little bit of a, what they call a rub. What do we call it, Chris?
That's a legal pick.
A legal pick, right? But watch what Jones does. See how he keeps himself alive in the back of the end zone? Realizes the ball's not gone to Bolden, keeps himself alive and makes an extra move, presents himself, and Stafford finds him.
2 points. He didn't go out of the end zone and come back in, which would be illegal. There's about 3 guys on the planet can make the throw that Stafford did just with the fadeaway jump shot. We're talking about a suitcase.
It was all arm. Just stuck it.
Yeah, you defensive guys always complain about those picks. Boy, does it get old. Stafford, tough guy. 3 scoring drives, 21-7. Screening saves lives in the NFL and the American Cancer Society encourage everyone to join the fight against breast cancer. Learn more about a Crucial Catch Day on October 25th and find out how you can make a crucial catch at NFL.com/pink. And a little bit later on, Chris Spielman, who knows more about the terrible disease of breast cancer than most. We'll have some thoughts on that. Well, booted through the back of the end zone, and the Eagles will get it at the 25. 3:08 to go. The Lions leading 21-7. Philly tries to cut into that lead before halftime. Mentioned earlier, this Philadelphia defense had not surrendered a touchdown pass all year long. Matthew Stafford has 3 of those. And also bear in mind, this Philadelphia defense had not allowed more than 14 points in a single game so far this year. Delay to Sproles. What a cutback. He might be 33 years young, is Darren Sproles. Well, you got to check it out. Lethal Weapon. Damon Wayans, Lane Crawford, the perfect tandem. Non-stop fun and action. An all-new episode of Lethal Weapon. Wednesday on Fox.
Riggs.
He said lives it. He said lives it.
Wentz again finds Sproles. And depending on the spot, he looks to have a first down. He does. That's to the 36.
Tom, I'm going to go back to a point you made a couple minutes ago about the touchdowns the Eagles have given up and what's happening with the defense. Chris said it earlier. They haven't played as many plays this year. All right, they've averaged 52 snaps a game. And so far in this game, Detroit is reeling off more plays on offense than Philadelphia's used to playing on defense in 2016.
Laser.
32 plays the Lions have run on offense compared to just 17 on offense for Philadelphia. Magalore, a reception close to another first down in the 47. That'll take us to the 2-minute warning. 2 timeouts, 3 timeouts remain. 2 minutes to go until halftime. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL.
Look at Matthew Stafford. This is a guy who's fully taken over his offense this year. Calvin Johnson gone. Definitely his team now.
All right, Philadelphia close to midfield, and that's another design play to pick up a first down by Wentz right in the 50. 3 timeouts for the Eagles, and down to 1:50 to play until halftime.
Back to the Bison day on the zone read option. Reading that defensive end, he goes in. Carson pulls the ball and keeps it for positive yards.
Better say Bison, otherwise we're all in trouble. They'll come after us.
Standing in there and throws it high and nearly intercepted. He had a wide open Aguilar as a penalty flag is down behind the line of scrimmage.
Personal foul. Chop block, number 43. Offense, 15-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's a veteran Darren Sproles.
Well, when one player's engaged, another player can't come and hit low. Watch Darren Sproles. Let's see.
Now, who was engaged?
Nobody. And the fact, too, for Darren Sproles, I mean, he doesn't have to go very far. to cut a guy.
No, he's already down. When they talk about bending your knees, right, getting into a football position, he's in one just naturally.
Now
that was a heck of a block.
That was a hard call. That wrong call.
I didn't see anyone engaged.
Yeah, it didn't look like he had made any kind of contact with Alan Barber, the left guard. All right, so they're backed up to the 35, a minute 30 to go. And Wentz rolling, chased by Hyder, and he'll just throw it away. Devin Taylor came in behind Hyder, forcing the incompletion.
Note, guys, note we're seeing in front of us right now, the education of a rookie quarterback. And they have to go through all the different phases, all right? Things have been good the first 3
That's
games.
right.
Whacking Pittsburgh was a big deal, and deservedly so did they get the praise. Now they're down 21-7. They're a little bit discombobulated, as my old college coach John T. Majors would say. Can they get it back? Can they get themselves back in gear and see what they can do? And this is what a young quarterback has to go through as they mature in the league.
Second down. And great protection. Wentz all day to throw. And a back shoulder throw and a catch by Jordan Matthews. They're calling it a catch and a first down all the way to the 40-yard line. There is a penalty flag that came in late on the near side.
Well, if there's an education going on, he's a quick learner with that poise, wasn't he, Chris?
Always eyes downfield and having the confidence to throw the back shoulder, reading the same thing that the receiver's reading.
He took the receiver to that completion if it stands.
Throw him open.
Ineligible player downfield, number 98. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Well, it can't be number 98.
His 98's Connor Barwin, and I don't think he's out there playing offense right now.
Well, if anybody could do it, he could do it.
Yes, he did it at Cincinnati. He was a tight end first before he became a defensive end. I know there's a penalty, but guys, that play there by Wentz, just as we were talking about the education of a young quarterback, that was pretty special. Look at this throw. And he threw, what do you say, Chris? Throw him open, right?
Throw him open.
He threw him to a spot where his receiver could make the play and not the defensive back. If he throws it to the inside, the defensive back has a play on the football. Really nice connection with he and Jordan Matthews. That's a veteran throw. That's not a rookie throw.
Well, this drive has been 1 step forward, 2 steps back on a pair of big-time penalties. That negates a 27-yard gain.
Well, the one thing the Lions are doing and why the Eagles are struggling is that the Eagle wide receivers are not creating any separation. You shouldn't have to make that difficult or that good of a throw, and it almost seems like that every single time they drop back to pass.
We will review the previous play.
I think we got to find. I think they're trying to.
Well, I mean, they started by announcing number 98, which we know is not right.
Also an incomplete pass because Quandre Diggs ripped that ball out of there. Good look.
Okay, so what they're looking at is whether or not that was a catch. Okay, so here's the beautiful throw. Good job by Matthews, back shoulder. But Quandre Diggs makes a play on the ball right away. And look at him raking the ball out. Now Matthews gets both feet down and is turning upfield. So they have to determine, is that a catch and a fumble, or are they going to say that it was incomplete? I fall on the line of incomplete, but I think Diggs made the play on the ball.
Because some fans are wondering what's the difference if there was a penalty that took it away. The difference is that penalty would be a loss of down penalty, and it would be third down instead of second down. But now all of a sudden,
after reviewing the play, the receiver caught the ball, fumbled it out of bounds forward. The ball will be placed at the 38-yard line, first down. Please set the game clock to 1:11.
Well, I got to tell you something, fellas. I'm missing something here because they called an ineligible man downfield against the offense, and they said a defensive player's number in number 98. And so maybe Pete Morelli just misspoke on the penalty.
But they never came back to that. So apparently that got wiped away, and it became just the catch. And I thought Diggs did a nice job raking the ball out. I didn't think it was a completion, but they determined it was.
We have just been notified they picked up that flag and did not let the rest of us know. So now you know at home, we know, and the Eagles in business. They lay it off to Sproles, who got a great block, and he's inside the 30, down to the 25-yard line.
Where's Doug Peterson come from Mike Holmgren to Andy Reid? They're all about the screens.
We got the Visa halftime report coming up. How about it, Kurt Menefee?
Coming up on the Visa halftime, Minnesota tries to remain one of the 3 undefeated teams in the league. And TB12, that's right, Tom Brady, tries to keep the Browns the NFL's only winless team. Join me in this TBOG on the Visa halftime show. You ready?
I'm ready. America, you ready?
You warmed up?
I'm warmed up.
All right.
Yeah, Terry Bradshaw wasn't too bad now.
No, not at all. But you notice him throwing it around in the pregame show. Alex Rodriguez was pitching it around. Like Terry was saying, the baseball guy coming in here and hold up, let me show you how it's done. Because Terry, you talk about throwing the long ball now.
Man.
Old TB flung it downfield. He didn't mind slinging it around at all.
One of the most memorable plays in NFL history. Lynn Swann, acrobatic.
John Stallworth.
Into the air, John Stallworth, among others. First down. Wentz, great protection. Again, the receiver fell down. Ertz got tied up down along the sideline.
Number 76, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
That's a penalty on the left guard, Alan Barber.
And you know what they showed there? They showed screen look, didn't they? Did you notice that? The way that he went on his drop and then tried to look like it was a screen and then sneak Ertz downfield for the big shot. And as Tom noted, he fell down, couldn't get the completion. But look at the penalties. For this year, hasn't it been Detroit that's been the ones that been penalty prone?
Right.
Averaging about 10 a game. And here the Eagles with 7 of their own in the first half.
Well, they've had now 2 on this drive alone. We thought 3. That flag was picked up. Wentz sacked back at the 44-yard line. Looked like both Bryant and Taylor there.
Devin Taylor, number 98, who was supposed to be opposite of Ziggy Ansah. Bryant taking his place, just beats him with speed. And anytime there's gaps, you see great defensive linemen or pass rushers, they turn their shoulders and they get skinny to make yourself a small target. And one thing that's been lacking from this Lions defense and their pass defense is a lack of a pass rush. And so far today, they've harassed Carson Wentz.
Especially an inside pass rush. And that while that came from a defensive end, he moved inside. So the pass rush came in the face. And the other part, too, it's a zone read pass. And Chris knows this. You want a zone read pass and fake it at the line of scrimmage? The blocking has to hold up because you're right there in front of the defensive line.
They moved Kerry Hyder inside, normally a defensive end, now playing defensive tackle.
He's back in his roots. He was a DT.
So you got a penalty and a sack, and Hyder, what a spectacular job by Hyder, sniffing out that screen to Darren Sproles.
So being smart and understanding the screen, that's why he played inside. This is such a beautiful play that just watch it. Retrace your steps. When you sense, smell, hey, guess what? I'm normally not that free to the quarterback. There's something up. There's something that stinks, and he sniffed it out. And look at the burst to get the Sproles.
Third down and forever. Wentz across the middle. Bobbling the ball was Ertz, and then a penalty flag comes in. That's Tyre Whitehead, who got tangled up in coverage here with Ertz.
I think he might get the call,
Pass
too.
interference, number 86, offense. 10-yard penalty.
Holy mackerel.
Still third down.
Last week, Chris, Tyre Whitehead got a call against him in Chicago for pass interference that you and I both reviewed and I don't think was there. Today, he's going to get the benefit of the call with offensive pass interference against him. And we're
don't forget the week before that when we were in Green Bay on that pass interference just before halftime, which really blew that game wide open on Devin Lawson.
And I thought that was a good call. I thought it was a legitimate. I know the Lions don't. I still think they had the right call on that one.
All right, third down and 36. Eagles have 1 timeout left. They'd like a long completion here at the minimum to get them into field goal range. Flags down again. And open is Ertz. The catch of the 32. 3 seconds remain. I think this one's against Detroit.
Number 61, offside, lined up in the neutral zone. The penalty will be declined. Fourth down.
So when you play at prevent defensive, Carson Wentz surveys the field and looking at the whole field. On the defensive end, one mistake guys make too often is they cover dirt. When you have that much time, that's like a quarterback scramble. So what you do then is you lock up with receivers and play man as opposed to playing dirt in that situation. And they had Taylor back there trying to cover defensive end, covering the tight end. No good.
Has dirt ever made a play?
Timeout, Detroit, first team timeout, 30-second timeout.
Has dirt ever made a play?
Timeout called by Jim Caldwell just before the field goal attempt. People affected by the severe weather and other disasters need help right now. To support those impacted by Hurricane Matthew, text Matthew to 90999 and give $10 to the American Red Cross Hurricane Relief. Certainly our thoughts and prayers to all of those up and down the eastern seaboard, the Carolinas, down in Florida and other points. And certainly those even out of our country through Haiti and Cuba and so many other places that have just been devastated.
Have you seen the efforts former NFL player Jay Feely is putting in Haiti? Fantastic work by him.
50-yard field goal try. Plenty of leg. And it is good by Caleb Sturgis. 10th field goal in his career of 50 yards or longer. Remember, the Eagles get the ball to begin the second half. It's been a good half for the Lions, leading 21-10. Today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. Is a touchdown for Theo Riddick. Carson Wentz, his 6th touchdown pass of the year. It's a touchdown for Marvin Jones Jr. Today's excitement, plenty of it, brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. Back alongside Charles Davis, Chris Spielman, Peter Schrager, our entire Fox crew. Now we've seen the Lions, Charles, blow 2 double-digit second half leads so far this year. Here we go in the second half. They have a double-digit lead.
Well, what I think might be different for them today, and we can't predict it, we have to see how it plays out, is how well their defense is actually playing. Because the offense is staying on the field, and the defense is keeping Philadelphia from dominating them. And time of possession has been different in this game because Philadelphia, Chris, normally takes care of that.
Yeah, that's not their game, and Carson Wentz had 73 of his 117 yards that last drive because the Lions have been able to play man-to-man against this Eagle offense. So what do you do to counter that? What you do to counter that is you start running bunch routes. Get guys lined up together and start throwing picks and combination routes to free some of those guys to get the Lions out of that tight man-to-man coverage, which the Lions, quite frankly, have been winning.
And one more time, that's a pick, right? Not a rub.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Tom's like, that's enough of that out of you two.
Jeez. Meetings, riding in a car. And they're yelling at guys taking tolls for crying out loud for picking.
Yeah, he did pick us off on that one.
That's right.
Yes, he did.
8 penalties by the Eagles. That's a surprise, as Charles pointed out earlier. Normally it's the Lions. They're the 3rd most penalized team in the league. And booted into the end zone, out to the 25. Let's check in downstairs with Peter.
Hey, Tom, the Eagles have not trailed at halftime all season long, so I asked Doug Peterson, the head coach, what's the message? He said there is no different message. This is an aggressive team, and he wants Carson Wentz to stay aggressive. He loved what he did that last drive there. As for the Lions, you mentioned it, guys. Double-digit leads, they've surrendered them. Jim Caldwell told his team it is 0-0. Do not get too full on yourself right now.
Now, it should be noted, Peter, thank you, that in the first game of the season, they blew a double-digit lead on the road in Indianapolis. Matthew Stafford took them down the field. They kicked a field goal. They won that game. It was a Tennessee game here where they blew a second straight double-digit fourth-quarter lead, and the Titans wound up winning. Third quarter has been the magical quarter so far in this young season for Philadelphia. The Eagles have outscored their opponents 43-3. And on first down, a gain of 6.
And if you guys noticed that Darren Sproles has taken most of the carries now, remember Ryan Matthews had an ankle injury earlier this year, but we thought he was fully healthy coming in, and he's had an effect on the game, but he's not taking the primary bunch of carries, Chris.
They get a feel for the running backs, and like all good coaches, running backs get into a rhythm. If they get going and you feed that guy, I don't care if he's 33 years old, he plays like he's 23.
Matthews and Sproles each with 3 rushes. Not a single rush for Wendell Smallwood, who was so impressive against the Steelers. And that is a nice catch in traffic. Beautifully thrown ball to beat Lawson. It's Aguilar, and that's a first down to midfield.
Well, they won one-on-one coverage here, and I'll tell you, to me, Lawson is pretty good. But when you have a perfectly thrown ball where your guy can only get it, understanding the height advantage and throwing it up high, that's a win. But if I'm looking at the big picture thing, Tom, to me, that's not creating separation. That's just a great catch and a great throw.
Yes, it is. First down at their own 49-yard line on this opening drive of the second half for the Eagles. They give it to Matthews, and he's on the other side of the 50. That'll be a gain of close to 4. You know, Matthews, twice a 1,000-yard rusher. He was a #1 pick by San Diego. But he has been so frequently injured. He has only played in 73 of what, a possible 97 games in his NFL career.
Had an Eagles staff member tell me he's a malevolent runner. I mean, he creates a lot of contact, and that leads to a number of the dings that he has, and why it's hard for him to play a complete season.
Play action. Matthews is wide open. And then by the time Wentz found him, they make the connection. He breaks a tackle, and he's inside the 35-yard line. He got away from Thurston Armbrister, who's getting playing time today with all the injuries.
So Terrell Austin is taking a little bit of heat, and this is great defense. But if I have this, missed tackles, you're in open field. That's your job as a linebacker to come get Matthews, and Armbrister missing. Now, Levy's out. Their best defender player, along with Ziggy Ansah, at that linebacker position.
And it's a weakened group because of DeAndre Levy being out.
Wendell Smallwood, the rookie out of West Virginia, checks into the backfield. They fake it to him, and they put it in the hands of Huff, and that's read perfectly by Glover Quinn. You know, we brought up earlier most pass attempts without an interception to begin a career. Now, bear in mind, Tom Brady was not playing initially as a rookie.
Right.
Dak Prescott is a rookie, so too is Wentz. Prescott's gone 131, and Wentz now at 118 without a single turnover.
A couple drops today. The Lions had their hand on some balls today. It's unfortunate.
Fake it to Sproles. Huff. That is a really nice defensive play made right there by Tavon Wilson. He did not play against Chicago last week. The former Patriot read that one all the way.
And they missed him in the secondary. I was watching him in practice the other day, and one of the things that impressed me about him is even if the coverage wasn't his, he started hunting up receivers. Where could they possibly be in the different areas, and going back and making plays on the football. He made a nice open field tackle there.
Great safeties play plays and understand route progression, which he brings to the table.
Kenyon Barner checks into the game. Not called his name today. It's a 3rd down and 8, 5-man rush. Wentz to the big fella, and he's still on his feet. Green Beckham is run out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Boy, he is a big, strong man.
The NFL is a game of matchups. Carson Wentz understands that he's going to have Green Beckham matched up on the linebacker, Tahir Whitehead. This is no match because of that reach, like a long boxer, right? Got the jab. Through Tahir, the jab should have been face mask on offensive guys. They never call that either, Brenneman. That's all right. But look at the strength.
I mean, he just
Dorial Green Beckham.
He got that arm out and then was able to extend it and knock a middle linebacker off of him. That's a strong physical wide receiver.
Matchups.
Sure is. Ryan Matthews down to the 1-yard line.
You know, when we talk about Ryan Matthews, we talk about his running ability. And Tom, you pointed it out in the first half. He didn't have many pass completions this year. At one point, though, when he went to the Pro Bowl, he ran for well over 1,000 yards and had 50 catches. So while that's not a strength of his, don't underestimate that he's another outlet for Carson Wentz when he's in the game.
Well, we have not seen much of Brent Selleck. He has checked into the game. Boy, he's one of the all-time tough guys and most reliable players in Philadelphia Eagles history. And a timeout is called by Detroit on this 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. So, fellas, here we are. And, you know, Charles, I love the point that you and Chris were talking about earlier, and that is no one's ever going to say that the first 3 weeks have been easy for Carson Wentz. What they can say is the Eagles have not been tested the first 3 weeks. You know, they've won every game by more than 15 points. So here we are today, and, you know, we're going to find out, can he bring his team back being behind?
Well, this is a kid. You get the one thing people have to understand about him. He's had adversity in his career. I mean, he didn't become a starting quarterback in high school until his senior year. He missed a year because he had a shoulder injury and played a wide receiver position. He had to sit at North Dakota State while they won 3 national championships with Brock Jensen ahead of him. Now, is Wentz a better quarterback? Probably. But Jensen got it. So, Chris, he understands patience.
Yeah, he understands patience here because if I'm the Lions, because of my communication problems, I'm blitzing and playing man. That's what they're going to do.
And that is a touchdown to Huff. They put Huff and Matthews right next to one another, and they go to Huff.
Good call, Tom, because that's the man beater that we talked about coming up at half, right? Right here, when you're this close, you have man. There's a miscommunication between these two guys.
Why are they right next to each other?
They shouldn't be next to each other. One should be up, one should be out. You have first inside, I have first outside. When you're like that, you set the pick for yourself. That continues to be a problem for the Lions in the red zone, giving up touchdown passes, poor alignment, and miscommunication.
You have to have a gap there, a stagger. Otherwise, as Chris said, they pick off each other.
Well, how about the numbers for Wentz after the last 2 drives? 10 the first half to begin the second half. 17 of 19, 181 yards, and 2 touchdowns. There's a penalty flag on the point after. And again, we wait on Pete Morelli. Lions only have 1 penalty. The Eagles have 8.
But there's another guys are talking, man. Something's wrong.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, leaping, number 53 of the defense. 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. Timeout.
All right, we got a ball game. 21-17 after another impressive drive by the rookie Carson Wentz.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By Chevrolet. More 2016 J.D. Power Dependability Awards than any other brand. And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV.
We are back in downtown Detroit, Michigan. 9 plays, 75 yards to begin the second half, and a perfect 5 of 5 for Wentz.
Do you get the sense, and it's probably more than a sense, that the Philadelphia Eagles' entire team believes in Carson Wentz? Because they're playing for that kid. All right, you know, it's not just we can heap all the praise on him we want, but that, to me, they believe in him by how they're conducting themselves.
So let me go one further. How about they believe in the head coach? They believe the system.
Both you guys, that's a great point.
Off the field on defense and keeps him on the field in the offense. There's a big difference inside the locker room.
There is no foul for leaping during that play. So the ball will be kicked off from the 35. No foul.
Because I've been in those NFL locker rooms, guys, and there's a big difference when you believe in your system and your coach and you don't believe.
Well, Doug Peterson is 48 years young. He grew up in Washington. He's the only head coach in Eagles franchise history to win each of his first 3 games. They played quarterback in Northeast Louisiana. Played in the World League for a year. Played in the NFL for 12 years. 4 different teams, including the Philadelphia Eagles in 1999. And fellas, what's incredible is it was 9 years ago that Doug Peterson was still a high school football coach at Calvary Baptist Academy in Shreveport, Louisiana.
How many years ago?
9.
Pretty good ascension.
Not bad. Not bad.
Northeast Louisiana, now Louisiana Monroe. Everybody, that's the, you know, when they changed up on their names there.
All right, so from a 35, this might be returnable by Roberts. He's going to bring it out. We saw him make this decision a number of times in Green Bay, and each time it was a bad decision, and it's another bad one. Get a look at historic Fort Wayne. 21-17, Lions in front. The NFL is spotlighting breast cancer awareness in October, and the Stephanie Spielman Fund for Breast Cancer Research has raised now over $20 million. And Chris, I know I speak for everybody, especially in this part of the country, but America knew the story of, you know, when you sadly lost Stephanie. And I mean, so many in this town right here in Detroit were right there with you every step of the way. It's been incredible what you've been able to do in her memory.
Well, it's a credit to my children and Stephanie. Stephanie told my kids in a videotape after she went home that never use my death as an excuse for anything, but motivation for everything that you do. And my kids have embraced it. The Lions embraced it, giving a $10,000 donation today. The NFL is giving $5. And I promise you, every dollar you give goes to research. None overhead. I promise.
Well, it's incredible stuff, Chris. And, you know, all of a sudden you became that dad, and you had to go at it with your kids at home. And thank God everybody's doing great, right?
Yes, they're doing awesome. And, you know, I had 3 girls at the time. And, you know, the biggest challenge was doing the hair. Like, they had spikes and everything coming out of their hair. And you
so you don't have to worry about it. It's smooth. So
Yeah,
we're not going to ask for your help.
That's why they all wore baseball caps.
Yeah,
look good. Don't worry. You got it.
Yeah, a lot of rubber bands and barrettes going, didn't you?
Had everything going.
Phenomenal, Chris.
Oh, that is funny. Incomplete on a second down, and a very late flag comes in. Boy, that Philadelphia sideline is livid over there.
Marvin Jones slow getting up. See how he runs routes.
Pass interference, number 22 defense, automatic first down.
It's Nolan Carroll, and that's an automatic first down.
Let's see. Let's take a good look at this one, because there he is up on him in press coverage. Stays inside well. He gets his hands on him inside the 5 yards, but his hands stay. They never come off. It's an excellent call, because I mean he's just holding him throughout the route. But that blunts a little bit of that enthusiasm that the defense ran on the field with, because the offense had provided it. Now they score, you run out in the field, you got a little pep in your step, and you get a penalty right out of the gate.
Now they're taking a look at Marvin Jones. He was questionable coming into this game. Stafford is dropped. Back at the 25-yard line by Benny Logan. Let's check in with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. If there was any question how Tom Brady was going to do in his return, well, here you go. This is his 3rd touchdown pass to his new tight end, Martellus Bennett. Brady now has 3 touchdowns and 330 yards in his return pass, up 30-7.
Brady, after this to the goal, the down will count, second down.
Well, after the sack, the penalty was thrown. A penalty flag was thrown in the secondary, and unsportsmanlike conduct has been called on receiver Anquan Bolden. Something must have happened far down from the line of scrimmage.
That's been a problem for this Lions team, right? It's discipline and penalties. And to be honest with you, that falls on Jim Caldwell, the head coach.
And many will remember, that's one of the reasons Jim Schwartz was fired from here in Detroit. This was a team that, by and large, every single year.
In year 1, Jim Caldwell cleaned that up with the Lions, and they went 11-5, went to the playoffs.
Exactly right. Ball is loose. And let's see, it looked like originally that the Eagles had it, but that ball may have squirted out of there. We'll see.
Harbor's fighting hard.
Signal is given. It's Philadelphia football. So, you know, that's where you always talk about, fellas. You know, it's not always just the penalty, but it's a situation that penalties put you in.
Yes, excellent point, Tom. And what it did was it put him in that situation where Philadelphia felt like they could get after him a little bit. And you see him trying to make a move through the traffic, and the ball just came out of his hands. And then it became a fight where Fletcher Cox was first there. But you saw Matthew Stafford trying to go through that trash, Chris, and no one got a hand on the ball. It just came out of his hands. And so now that the pressure has shifted from being on Philadelphia to Detroit, let's see how they handle it.
Well, on that bench right now, I guarantee you everybody's got to fight. Here we go again mentality.
They've been there. They've been there. And here in this one, I wouldn't be surprised at all. They attack the end zone right here, play one with Wentz.
And on defense, I attack right now and bring pressure to make a big play or create something yourself.
Gone empty.
Well, you saw that was a first lost fumble this entire season for the Detroit Lions. And Wentz looking to the end zone, and it's incomplete. Aguilar getting turned around.
They tried to use Matthews to hold him here and let Aguilar run the route downfield.
Well, actually, it's a pretty good job. And what you force a linebacker to do is to play cover 2. Well, he's not used to playing cover 2, so when that guy sits, the linebacker is supposed to fall underneath that corner route to give Lawson help.
And it's a string of 9 straight completions for the rookie quarterback Carson Wentz. They hand it off to Matthews, bounces off one tackler, gets to the 14. It'll bring up third down. Lions lead by 4 midway through this third quarter.
Chris, you've been in this situation many times on an NFL field. This type of a ball game, big third down here. What are you telling your teammates right now? What are you saying on defense?
Well, the first thing is hold your water so you keep them at 3rd and 8 as opposed to 3rd and 3, which opens them the options. The second thing I say, if there's a blitz call, we have to get there. And the third, if there is any type of tight receiver formations like they look like they're doing over to the top of your screen to right, have communication on who has who so you don't give up the big play. There you go.
It's coming from a 4-time Pro Bowl linebacker. They go to Green Beckham, and it looked like that's a play he could have made.
What a fighter, though, by Lawson. I mean, you know that you got a mismatch. You know you're out there on an island. You're going to fight and battle and never quit on the football. And don't play the ball. Forget the ball. Play the hands like you did. Well done, Lawson.
Very well done indeed by Nevin Lawson, a third-year corner out of Utah State. And now Sturgis from 33 yards away. He's only missed once so far this year. And right down the middle to make it a 1-point spread. Stafford's fumble costs him 3. But the Lions still lead in quarter number 3.
Today's game is sponsored by Verizon. Welcome to Verizon LTE Advanced, the next-gen network.
Philadelphia, one of the 3 unbeatens coming into this Week 5 matchup. They've only played the 3 games, had their bye week last week after dismantling Pittsburgh. Minnesota is doing just that to Houston. You know a thing or two about that Minnesota team. Runs in the family, Chris Spielman. Pretty good team.
Absolutely. And Sam Bradford's playing well in defense, man. Get after it.
Boy, do they ever get after it. Dropped to the 15-yard line is Roberts by Jalen Watkins. Now, can the Lions answer after a dreadful start to the second half? Some of those line defenders, I mean, you come here to Detroit, man. This is the home of Motown. Got a little Wilson Pickett.
Hitsville, USA.
Oh, got him going on now. See, Golden Tate is in the backfield. He already has a couple of carries in this game and now making a third. Trying to turn the corner and handled beautifully by the Philadelphia defense. Brandon Graham initially slowed that play down.
And you know, this Philadelphia defense has a new spirit going right now. They played well all year. We haven't called Fletcher Cox's name very much today, Chris. And he's one of the best players in the league, not just at his position, just overall.
So here's what I know about interior defensive linemen. Sometimes they create pressure for the outside guys because of the push. And if we have linebackers making a lot of plays, that tells me they're doing their job.
And don't forget, all he has to do is flash and make a big play or two and have a major effect on the game, and he's capable.
Center out of the backfield, breaks a tackle, And gets back to the original line of scrimmage. He escaped from Bradham. Third down and a big one coming up for the Lions. Let's go downstairs to Peter Schrager.
Yeah, guys, you're talking about the Eagles defense. Leotis McKelvin started at corner. He is now out and questionable return with a hamstring injury. Rookie Jalen Mills fills in. He's one-on-one with Marvin Jones.
And Mills has played a lot because McKelvin has missed the last 2 games. This is the first game back since the season opener.
And don't forget, Mills got a real baptism because he had to deal with Antonio Brown of Pittsburgh last game. A lot of yardage in it, but no major impact plays that hurt the Eagles defense.
Andy Ebron's out, guys. Bolden's been that tight end X guy in place of Ebron.
Well, trips to the right on this 3rd down and 10. And it is Bolden, spins out of 1 tackle. And then gang tackled by a host of Eagles. Malcolm Jenkins, the first one to meet him.
And
so 3 and out for the Lions.
Sorry about that, partner. That certainly felt like Philadelphia dictated to Detroit. You can't throw it here. You can't throw it here. Go ahead and throw it there, and we'll have 3 or 4 guys here to wrap him up.
And they did a great job of playing the sticks. Keep it in front and go get them. And they're done well eliminating run after catch. That's what they do. That's what they count on.
So first punt today by Martin. And here we are with 4 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Lions scored on all 3 of their drives in the first half. And then turned it over their first drive of this half. So the veteran Sproles doesn't come up to get it, and that probably cost him a good 15 or 20 yards. Turns into a 57-yard punt. (21-20) Detroit in front of Philadelphia. 4:07 to play in the 3rd quarter. Wentz a final drive of the first half. Took his team down the field for a field goal. And their only possession of the second half. They take it down the field for a touchdown. Five-yard gain on first down. Wentz, young man who grew up in Bismarck, North Dakota. Century High School. Really did not grow until his junior year. Played 3 seasons as a backup, then a starter the last 2 years, winning national championships in college. And the Eagles made the deal with Cleveland to make him the #2 pick in the draft. A very, very impressive young man.
Yeah, well, if Teddy Bridgewater didn't get hurt, he'd be inactive today.
Yeah, good point. That's where they were going with it. The idea was that he would be the 3rd guy and learn. And that injury changed everything with the trade for Bradford.
Second down, and somehow, someway, Matthews caught that pass. It's only a gain of a yard. We want to thank Ben Leverick from Century High School for those photographs of Carson Wentz with the Patriots.
And you guys remember at the beginning of the game when our partner Peter Schrager was talking about what Wentz did on his open week, where he went out and he went hunting and he got an 8-point buck and the whole deal. You know what? That's his first one he got with the bow and arrow. And you know what he did? He texted his quarterback's coach, John DiFilippo, excited. Hey, coach, guess what I just did? That was his open week preparation.
He is a really, really impressive young man. Mom and Dad have done a great job raising that son. He's begging for the football. Did they get off in time? Apparently not.
Delay of game.
That's the second time that's happened today.
Still 3rd down.
What'd you say in the first half, Chris Spielman, about this situation?
But he's got to understand where the clock is.
And when he's doing that, begging for the ball, maybe you take the time out there.
Yeah, you take a timeout, especially in that type of situation on 3rd and 10. You got a chance at 3rd and 10. Not much one, but better than 3rd and 15. And that's something that they talk about in that situation. That's a communication, and that's an assist to all these fans up on their feet yelling.
Unbelievable. The Eagles 10 penalties to the Lions 2. Unusual flip from what we've seen throughout the season.
Yes, it is. Now they're not taking a chance here on 3rd and 15. They hand it off and they'll punt it away. So that's the first drive of the last 4 where the Eagles have not scored. They kicked the field goal at the end of the half. They had the touchdown drive, the field goal after the Stafford turnover, and now a punt.
I think these are back-to-back really good possessions by the Detroit defense. When they held them to the field goal after the turnover by Stafford, that was key. and then they come out here and stuff them in their end, they should get decent field position after this punt.
Donnie Jones puts a left foot on it, and it will check up and down close to midfield. So excellent field position for the Lions, leading Wentz and the Eagles 21-20. The most outspoken duo in sports talk is now on FS1.
Every weekday, watch Shannon and I debate the day's hottest topics.
And I'll let Skip know exactly how wrong his picks were this week.
Like I let you know last week, undisputed, 9:30 Eastern, FS1.
Talked about the Lions, their first 3 possessions, their only 3 possessions of the opening half, 3 touchdowns. 0 for 2 with a turnover so far here in the second half. And Riddick met at the line of scrimmage, nowhere to run. Nigel Bradham in on the tackle, signed as a free agent leaving Buffalo, found himself in trouble for the second time in 5 months. He got arrested on a misdemeanor weapons charge leaving Miami. He was forthright about the whole thing. Said, look, I have the gun. It's a registered gun in my backpack. Forgot it was in there. But his coach and his defensive coordinator, none too happy about the situation. He is still facing a battery charge in Miami from an incident at a hotel. Thrown out of bounds by Stafford. It brings up 3rd down and 11 after great field position.
Well, he's a good football player, and I always talk about this with guys and young guys on my team that actually, look, you have a choice to listen to me or not. Your choices off the field have a direct reflection on my job. You're too good of a player to put yourself, and more importantly, me and our team at risk by making stupid choices. And that's a stupid choice. Not knowing where your gun is. You got to know where your gun is. You got a gun, be responsible to know where it is.
All right, it's not like you forgot your belt. Yeah. It's a little different.
Or your socks like you forgot this week.
Hey.
Yeah, but it's still a good look in the suit. Rolling is Stafford. And this is it complete to start with? Yes, but I think they're about a foot or 2 short of a first down, again, depending on the spot. And fellas, if they went for it on 4th down earlier, don't you have to go for it here?
I think they're trying to reclaim momentum. Now's a great time to go.
So what they do? They ran a sneak the last time. So as a defense, you counter and you take care of the double A gaps by moving your defensive tackles in and force them to get the ball deep so your penetration can stop the short yardage run.
Well, that's going to be the end of the 3rd quarter. I tell you what, this has a chance to be a mighty good finish. 1-point game. NFL on Fox continues after a word from your local Fox station. All righty, we're set to begin the 4th quarter. Detroit 21, all 21 points coming in the opening half. Philadelphia 20. The Eagles have scored 10 here in the second half. It is 4th down and less than a yard at the Philadelphia 43-yard line.
Guys, Corey Robinson's back on the field as you might expect. They're going to go heavy again. The extra offensive tackle. I believe this is the 16th play of the game. They've gone with that set. So, Chris, you talk about him mugging the double A gap now, right? Because of the sneak before. As he's still sneaking and maybe slide and double A gap inside the center, right? Center to either side of the center is the A gap. Both sides. Does he slide and maybe move and try and go a little bit wider?
He'll turn around and hand it off. And Riddick's extra effort, it's going to be very close. It looks like he picked it up. Well, he bounced off a tackle. They had him right where they wanted him.
So what he is, he's a football warrior. The A-gaps are taken care of, no sneak, right? So he calls the play. Give it to Riddick, and this is all him. That's effort. And that's why he, to me, is the ultimate football player, because he will give you everything he has, every single down, no matter what the down, no matter what the score. That's Theo Riddick.
Because he's really not supposed to be carrying the ball in that situation. That'd be Dwayne Washington if healthy, I would think.
Or center in that situation.
All right, so a first down for the Lions. And Stafford throws out of the backfield. It is Riddick again. And he churns for a couple of yards. Let's get an injury update down in the field with Peter Schrager.
Tom, I already mentioned that Leotis McKelvin's out now. Ron Brooks, the safety, is also on the sideline getting his leg worked on. Both of those guys were in Buffalo with Jim Schwartz, leaders of that defense.
Peter, there are a number of those guys you're talking about that have had a Jim Schwartz effect, whether it's in Buffalo or even here in Detroit. Stephen Tulloch, number 50, the linebacker, played with him before. So he's had those guys. He had Brandon Graham at the Senior Bowl when he's the head coach of the Detroit Lions.
And Bradham, in fact, had his best season in the NFL playing for Schwartz as defensive coordinator in Buffalo in 2014. Stuffed at the line of scrimmage by Benny Logan is Riddick.
So if I'm the Lions right now, I take my time on when I snap this football. You want to use as much clock as you can without losing rhythm. But, you know, you're not used to being in this situation. You're always coming from behind. So now you have the whole playbook ahead of you and just run your offense, be patient.
But you're walking that line on momentum, aren't you? About how much you're throttling back. And you can't throttle it too much. Too much time left on the clock.
It's at 8 now. I like it.
Third down, Stafford is sacked. He ducked away from a sack from Fletcher Cox. And then it was Barwin and Vinnie Curry right behind him. And Curry will take the bow.
But what did we say about Fletcher Cox? All he's got to do is flash a couple of times to have a huge effect on the game. And look at it. He ends up beating Larry Warford very quickly. And then, as Tom noted, Vinnie Curry able to get there and clean things up, with Barwin dropping on at the end. And that was a big deal there because it changes field position a little bit.
Hey, Curry's a nice player, especially a guy considered a quote-unquote backup player. Lifelong Philadelphia fan from Neptune, New Jersey. That's an end-over-end punt. And Sproles will let this one bounce, and they cover it at the 1-yard line. No, they're saying it crossed the line. Both officials are saying it broke the plane. Don Carey down there in coverage. Special teams stand out for these Lions. Foot on the line. Yep, good call. Nice shot.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Nissan, innovation that excites, and by T-Mobile, bringing you greater coverage of today's game.
That's reminiscence of Eddie George back in his Ohio State days, Mr. Spielman, losing a shoe and scoring.
And running over that Tennessee Volunteer Orange.
Hey.
Boy, that's cold. First down throw in and out of the hands of the tight end Trey Burton, and a penalty flag is down.
I do remember a Tennessee-Ohio State Citrus Bowl that Tennessee romped.
Of course you do.
Romped in, by the way.
You're like Rain Man. Movies in football.
Offense, number 65 is at the end of the line. 5-yard penalty still, first down.
That's Lane Johnson. Now, fellas, you know, Johnson's a big story here now. You know, he was suspended in 2014 for PEDs. Suspended for 10 games before the season began. They appealed, and they've let him play. He had the hearing earlier this week, and they might know this upcoming week if that will be upheld.
They think that if he's going to get suspended, they'll know come this week coming up, and that'll shift their offensive line.
Incomplete, second straight time they're looking for the third tight end, Trey Burton, behind Ertz and Selleck.
Trey Burton's been a favorite right here of Carson Wentz. The games that Ertz has been out. But this is just a good job of not getting there but disrupting. And you see how Carson Wentz had to rise and try to throw over that. By raising your hands, you didn't get the sack, but what you did was affected the flight of the ball.
Tyron Walker, great penetration. When you can't get home, get your hands in the passing lane and have a different effect on it.
All right, third down, or second down after the penalty, 15. And that is Green Beckham. He stiffs-armed his way across the 25. It brings up third down and 3.
Missed tackle. Again, you can get yourself in an advantageous third down position, but Darius Slay came up and threw a no-hitter. Now that's good for playoff baseball. But when you're one-on-one corner, you've got to make that play to put yourself in a manageable third down situation.
But what Philadelphia set up, as we look at the total yards on that play, they set up a one-on-one tackle because Nelson Aguilar had a nice block on the perimeter and said, go ahead, let's see if you can tackle Dorial Green-Beckham, and he didn't do it successfully.
Eagles are 2 out of 6 on third down. We'll call this one 3rd and 4. Great protection. I mean, you have no chance. That is Matthews up to the 47-yard line. You give a quarterback that much time, I don't care who's back there.
Watch on the right side. Watch this here, because not only do you get good pass protection, but watch the late second shot. All right, there it is. Lane Johnson handling Hyder. And the look at Brandon Brooks, number 79, coming over and finishing him off. And that allows Carson Wentz to have a clear throwing lane, steps in and whistles one to Jordan Matthews.
Two things on that. You see how his ability and his technique weren't affected by no hands in the face. And the other thing, threw away from the defensive coverage on the back shoulder. Doesn't have to be a fade. It can be a downfield pass.
10-20 to play here in Detroit. And Matthews back-to-back receptions after a very quiet day. That'll be a gain of 8. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
I tell you, Ben Roethlisberger is hot as any quarterback in the league right now. 5 touchdown passes last week, 3 already today. That one's Antonio Brown. Keeps them in control right now in the fourth quarter against the Jets. Tom, Charles, Chris, and Peter.
Of course, don't tell the Philadelphia Eagles how great Ben Roethlisberger is. They
had a day against Ben.
But then I loved what Mike Tomlin did. He had Redemption Sunday last Sunday after getting skunked by these Eagles, and boy, did they take it out on Kansas City.
Good, angry.
Yes. 2nd down and 2, and Wentz to throw it again. Steps away from pressure and gets back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd down coming up. Here's Peter Schrager.
Guys, if you notice, Haloti Ngata's not in the game. He hurt his shoulder. He's on the sidelines. He's questionable to return. A lot of young boys inside now instead.
Yeah, A'Shawn Robinson would be a guy who would step up. The big kid out of Alabama. Peter last week had a nice tackle for loss in a key situation in Chicago on a running play late in the game.
And had a good pressure right there to force Wentz to step up.
You notice how Carson Wentz's eyes came down off of downfield because of that pressure. Just trying a little self-preservation there. That's when you know you've done a good job with the quarterback. You've taken him away from downfield.
All right, 3rd down and 2, trying to keep this drive alive. And they hand it off to Sproles. Boy, what a great call that is. And that's to the 35-yard line and a 1st down. Doug Peterson calls the plays on offense. And he has dialed up some beautiful plays today.
Yeah, so I guarantee you this is going to be a run-pass option. You see Ertz coming there to cut off the backside. If you get the front that you like, then you run the play. If not, you have the zone read option if you got a different front. So that's Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson working in tandem and working in rhythm.
Peterson has been the offensive coordinator in Kansas City alongside the longtime Philadelphia Eagles coach Andy Reid. Not a bad guy to learn offense from. Incomplete. Excellent coverage by the linebacker Tahir Whitehead.
And to complete that on Doug Peterson. Has not called plays in the NFL full-time until this year. Did a little bit of it in Kansas City. But on his staff, Frank Reich, offensive coordinator in the NFL, has called plays. John DeFilippo, offensive coordinator last year in Cleveland, has called plays. They do an excellent job of series-to-series adjustments. Everybody talks about halftime adjustments. The Eagles go series to series, talking to each other and communicating well to help out the young QB in their offense.
We're down to 8 minutes to go. And Philadelphia, undefeated, trying to make it 4 straight wins. And this is Ryan Matthews into the secondary. And he's still on his feet. Penalty flag comes down in the 25. He's inside the 15.
Going to get Brandon Brooks, number 79, downfield. And if you're an offensive lineman and you're 10 yards downfield, hands off.
Holding. Number 79, offense, 10-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
I love effort. I love tough guys, but also like being smart. And I get that you're in the heat of the moment, but you have to have field awareness, just like wide receivers, to get off. Right there's the hold. See how far downfield he is, Brandon Brooks? Doesn't need it. Don't need it. Let your guy go. He can make a man miss. And that's, you just got to, I love the effort. Just have field awareness.
You know it's hard for those guys.
Offensive guards, they don't know what field awareness is.
But listen, you get an offensive guard rumbling downfield and seeing a smaller guy to smack, it's hard for them to turn that down.
Well, they better hurry up and get this thing off. They do. 5-man rush, and that is a tight end, and trying to turn the corner and stay on his feet is Burton. And that'll bring up a 3rd down.
That's a good play by Tahir Whitehead, I think, guys, because open field is tough. It doesn't have to be a picturesque tackle, but he kept fighting, stayed with it, because Trey Burton almost slipped him once or twice there. And if he does, he gets upfield, gets a 1st down and more.
Yeah, Trey Burton didn't play much the first half, but I'm telling you, after watching film, he is a beast to cover. And Carson Wentz has a little comfort level with him.
All right, second big 3rd down on this drive. Under 7 to go. And the Eagles trail by a point. Batted down by Slay on Aguilar. And out comes the field goal unit to try and take the lead for the first time today.
We all love Carson Wentz. Missed opportunity. Ball late, ball behind. And you can't do that against a guy like Slay because he's going to have a great break on this football to knock it away. That ball was off target. That ball has to be outside, low and away.
Slay carries himself as a #1 corner. Last week, only gave up 2 catches for 12 yards against Alshon Jeffrey of the Bears.
Getting paid like one.
Yeah, exactly. He should.
Good snap. Good hold. And Sturgis from 49 yards out gives Philadelphia its first lead of the game. Our game today produced by Mark Teitelman, directed by Greg Scopatone, our associate director Alex Olson, our broadcast associate Jordan Wolf, our technical producer Bob Muller. Our graphics operator Christine Lee celebrating a birthday this week. Happy birthday to Christine. And we thank Tom Marbury and Scott Snyder up here in the booth. And we have a ball game. Can the Lions rally and hand the Eagles their first loss?
Sponsored by the new Bacon King sandwich. 6 strips of crispy bacon piled atop a half pound of 100% beef. Only at Burger King.
Welcome back to Detroit, Michigan. 6:40 to go. Philadelphia leads for the first time in a game. And on 1st down, in and out of the hands of Marvin Jones Jr. That was a fastball. Justin Verlander-like fastball cut loose here by Stafford.
Now watch how deep, look how deep the safety is. All right, that's McLeod. Now watch on the tip, the ground he has to try and cover to get there.
Too much?
I mean, that is deep. Okay, and I understand what the reasoning is. We're not going to lay anybody behind us at this stage of the game. I get that. If he's playing at normal depth, that's a pick, and he's taking it the other way.
And he's backing up right now. He is nearly 17 yards, now 19 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Set up the screen, and you can't play it any better than Nigel Bradham. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee back in Los Angeles.
All right, the Bears are starting to get going right now at Indy. Brian Hoyer hooks up the rookie Jordan Howard out of Indiana. The 5th-round pick gets his first NFL touchdown and puts the Bears in the lead midway through the 4th quarter against the Colts. Tom, Charles, Chris, and Peter.
Take a look at this, fellas. 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns in the first half. 11 yards of offense for the Lions here in the second half, and 2 first downs. They had 17 first downs in the first half. 3rd down and forever. Stafford will dump it off to Theo Riddick, but far short of a first down, and on a very important drive, and there's still a lot of time left to go. But it is 3 and out, and an ugly 3 and out.
And their defense is tired. Because their defense has been on this field the whole second half. And they got to answer the call. And that's what you have to do if you're a defense. If your offense isn't clicking, somebody has to make a play. That is the conversation on the sidelines.
In the first half, the Lions ran, 32, 33 offensive plays. Kept their defense rested. In this half, as you pointed out, Tom, not much offensive production. Chris just said it. Defense on the field too much.
Booming punt by Martin will chase Sproles back to the 17-yard line. 7 career punt returns for touchdowns, and he's smothered after crossing the 20. So now Wentz with a chance to put this one on ice and go to 4-0. 23-21, Philadelphia in front. 4:59 to go. Rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, trying to go to 4-0 on the year. Of course, the Eagles making a move. They put it in the hands of Huff, and he picks up 2. They made the change last December and let go Chip Kelly. And, you know, this is something that you guys have talked about today, and what a difference a year makes, especially if you're on defense for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, it's a whole different philosophy, and the point I was making is that everybody in that locker room has not only bought into Carson Wentz, but they bought into the philosophy in the system. And when you have success, that only breeds confidence.
And that defense, ecstatic to play 20 less plays. Their play has been improved, but they also know that the offense is taking care of the ball better for them.
Ryan Matthews ahead for a yard, so now you have a 3rd down and 7 coming up. As we're winding down, by the time the ball is snapped, we'll have less than 4 minutes to go.
And at 3rd and 7 here, Terrell Austin, the defensive coordinator, matching wits with Doug Peterson, the head coach and play caller for Philadelphia. Do you think he tries to heat him up here and try and force a big play?
I think you have to come with some type of pressure because Sproles has hurt you. So what you have to do is get pressure, force Carson Wentz to make an early decision. Also, Dorial Green-Beckham has been a problem on 3rd down.
We've seen him hand it off on this play as well. They're going to throw it here. And the catch is made by Jordan Matthews up to the 37, and that is a 1st down. And now the Lions are really up against it.
And that's why you pressure, because you give them this much time to run this route, Charles.
You see him just working, just leans away from Quandre Diggs in nickel coverage. He's trying to get there, but the length and body of Matthews doesn't allow him.
So where was the ball?
All the way to the outside.
We have an injured player. We'll be back in a moment.
Philadelphia up 2, and remember in the first half, we talked about the education of a quarterback, Chris. Carson Wentz on the sideline.
Yeah, and probably the most valuable guy that he has the most interaction is the guy with the baseball hat and shoulder pads on is Chase Daniel, because he works hand in hand, and that's a trust thing. And Chase has been a total professional about this whole deal because he came over big, free agent from Kansas City, thought he would be the starter, but being a pro, he's developing the future of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, when they traded Sam Bradford, everyone assumed that Chase Daniel would move up to the #1 spot. They passed him over. He had to hide his disappointment, and he's channeled it into this young kid in mentoring him.
Quandre Diggs was the injured Lion. He appears to be okay. 1st down, they hand it off to Matthews, and he keeps those legs churning forward, and that's a nice pickup, a gain of a little more than 6.
Hey, Tom, you want to get your offensive line fired up? You run that ball like that, and you run that hard, and they're going to go and get in that huddle. Keep pounding the football. That's all they're going to yell about. Run it.
The most outspoken duo in sports talk is now not in this booth. It's on FS1.
Every weekday, watch Shannon and I debate the day's hottest topics.
And I'll let Skip know exactly how wrong his picks were this week.
Like I let you know last week, undisputed, 9:30 Eastern, FS1.
Tell you what, Charles Davis, you were the guy that was tuned into that show right from the get-go. And now you and Spielman up here got that same kind of thing going.
Well, we agree a lot.
Well, for right now.
For right now, but it's coming. We're getting there.
That's right. We're both being former defensive guys. I don't know how far that's really going to go. 2nd down, we'll call it 3. Turn around and hand it to Matthews again, but he is stuffed. So a 3rd down, and really this is the biggest defensive play of the game coming up for Detroit. Let's check in back in LA with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. Let's head to Indianapolis. The Colts were down 4 with under 4 left. Andrew Luck finds T.Y. Hilton with this 35-yard touchdown pass. The Colts take the lead 26-23. Tom?
So they didn't blitz last time. I'm talking about the Lions.
Yep.
It's too much time to give him because he'll put a strike. So I'm telling you, if you want to win this football game, play to win. Go after him. Get up and play press coverage. You only have 2 yards. And the other thing, if you're only in a 3-man front, remember, Tom, you pointed out, Sproles on a zone read option.
And if they go zone read, although it appears he's under center now, I was wondering about Wentz out the back door off of it.
3rd down and 2. Lions must have a stop here. They pitch it to Matthews, and the Lions, the ball is on the ground. And do the Lions have it? Waiting for an official sign, and now it's given to Detroit. It looked like Darius Slay stripped the football away from Ryan Matthews.
Talked about Darius Slay missing the tackle in open field. 3rd and 2, 4th quarter, game on the line. Your big money man, Darius Slay, is going to come into this picture and put his head across the bow and put that shoulder right on that football, springing it loose.
And Ryan Matthews has the ball in the wrong arm. You got to have it in the sideline arm and get that shoulder in front to protect. He's got it on the inside arm, and that ball's popped free.
And I'm going to tell you what, somebody on the Lions made a heads-up play right there, and that looked like it was settled. It looked like he batted the ball back in bounds before it went out of bounds, because if it went out of bounds, it still would have been Philadelphia's ball.
And, you know, either 1st down or 4th down, depending on where the ball was spotted out of bounds. That's a terrific play there. And how about the field position that they're in? And remember, they just need 3.
That's right. And they have one of the most deadly kickers in all of the NFL from downtown in Matt Prater.
Look at the play again, because there's Slay, as Chris described, puts his shoulder pad right on the football to pop it free. And you see the ball squirting free, and right there, that's what you're talking about, Tom. Anthony Zettel, I believe, right? 69?
I don't know if he was trying to pick it up, but he batted it between his legs.
The end effect was the ball stayed in play for Detroit to recover. And that was a big, big deal. But right there, the play really started with Tavon Wilson, 32, rocking back Lane Johnson, 65, and making Matthews bow out a little bit more, and then Slay came up and knocked it free.
Now the thing they might be looking at is Zettel inbounds when he's touching that football. And you can't tell. I don't know if his left hand was out of bounds or not. If he's out of bounds, and that's not going to stand.
That's right. It would be Philadelphia's ball if he is ruled out of bounds when he made contact with his football.
Here we go again.
Without possession of the football.
Correct.
This is where, you know,
there's the ball free right there.
We should get a real good look here.
Can you find the ball in the hand?
Ooh. This is a huge call. I mean, this is a huge call.
And this is where Tommy Moore in replay, he earns his money today.
Because, look, if the call stands, the Lions need about 10 yards, legitimate yards, 15 for a field goal try to win the game. If it doesn't stand, well, A, is it a 1st down where it went out of bounds? B, at the very minimum, if it's not a 1st down, it's 4th down and Philadelphia's money. And the Lions are out of timeouts.
Let's see if we can find it.
All right, here comes the judiciary with a verdict.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Fumble and recovered by Detroit.
I think it was the right call, because I don't think there was enough that you could say conclusively that you would turn it the other way. The call on the field is the standard that you're weighing it against.
That is the first turnover for the Philadelphia Eagles this year. Will it lead to their first loss this year? First time the Lions all year long have started a drive in the opponent's territory. And the catch is made by Golden Tate to the 41-yard line.
The Lions just stripped one free. Now on offense, they have to protect it themselves.
And now Stafford to take off. And he is thrown to the deck of the 39-yard line. It's Jordan Hicks, and that'll take us to the 2-minute warning. Ryan Matthews, a huge fumble on the hit by Slay, giving Detroit a chance to win it.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by State Farm, here to help life go right.
Philadelphia leads by 2, but Detroit, after the turnover with 2 minutes to go, has the football at the Philadelphia 39-yard line. A 3rd down and 4. And Stafford to throw it off his back foot, finds a wide open Golden Tate who is spun down inside the 15. And there is a penalty flag down where Tate was tackled.
I think Tate took a shot to the head.
Personal foul, necessary roughness, late hit, number 31 defense. Half distance to go, automatic first down.
About Stafford throwing to a spot and trusting the guy that's been struggling. Self-admitted Golden Tate right here is going to come here. Now, Stafford's going to throw to an area because he knows that he's got it matched up against Bradham, a linebacker, and that's no match. That's a mismatch. Then here comes the roughing right here.
But look at him throwing off the back foot. He has so much arm, and Logan's helmet contacts the head of Matthew Stafford. Easy call.
All right, fellas, now you get into that debate, and of course there have been games we can all remember, even in Super Bowls, right, where you're saying, okay, well, how much time do we take to score now? Because Philadelphia has all 3 timeouts left. They hand it off on first down to center. He stopped. Philly will spend a timeout. You know, so if you run 3 plays in a row here and say one's an incompleted pass, the other one's a run, you're going to call a timeout. It's conceivable that you don't burn another 10 or 12 seconds off this clock before Philadelphia might get the ball back again.
Yeah, well, one won't be an incomplete pass because I think you're going to keep the ball on the ground and force Philly to use all their timeouts. Now, and you can see, to me, if I'm Philly, it looks like they're going to play defense. Now, there can be a debate of, do you let them score to get the ball back? But right there.
And this is how we got into this spot. That was a 3rd and short play, a toss play to Ryan Matthews, carrying the ball with the inside arm instead of getting to the outside arm. He used his shoulder to protect, and a really nice tackle by Darius Slay. Knocked it free, and the Lions are in business.
Well, they've got Bolden isolated at the top of your screen. They're going to hand it off to center, and he's down to the 5. They're going to call another timeout, so that clock took 6 seconds off the play. Now, fellas, I got to ask you. I mean, at this point now, Chris and Charles, you know, Philadelphia has 1 timeout left. Wouldn't you love to take one shot at the end zone here and try and force Philadelphia to then score a touchdown rather than come back and get a field goal?
To me, that's playing to win. And I think you got to say, okay, do we trust our defense to stop Philadelphia? Philadelphia is going to use another timeout so they have time left no matter what the situation goes. But that's playing to win. So if you like a matchup, Marvin Jones, for example, down here on the bottom of your screen.
Make sure it's one-on-one and it's a throw that only your guy can get or no one. Personally, playing to win to me is kicking that field goal and telling my defense to make it stand up.
All right, we're going to see what they're going to do. They've got Malone set back as center. They're going to throw it. And now Stafford in trouble. He is sacked. Philadelphia will spend its last timeout. So that entire sequence of downs, all right, took a total of 14 seconds off the clock, from 146 to 132 to run 3 plays.
Marvin Jones is going to work to the inside. Anquan Bolden is going to come free, wide open, but the pressure forced Matthew Stafford to drop his eyes. Now watch Anquan Bolden. They're going to drop him in coverage right here. See, there's nobody within any type of distance.
But it's real easy for them right there. But Matthew Stafford was getting harassed in the pocket. Yeah. And what he was thinking there was, don't turn the football over and eliminate our chance to try and kick a field goal.
Smart play.
All right, now Prater here at Ford Field. How good has this guy been? 28 out of 29. And this will be from 29 yards away. Good snap, good hold, good kick. The Lions have recaptured the lead with exactly 1:30 to go. And the Eagles are out of timeouts. But again, because it's a field goal, all the Eagles need is a field goal to win it.
Look at the execution, though. All the mechanics worked out very well there, because there's an excellent snap by Don Muhlbach, who's playing in his 184th career game for the Detroit Lions. That ties Dick LeBeau for 6th all-time. Hall of Famer Dick LeBeau, still running the defense in Tennessee. And then, of course, the hold by Martin, and Prater plants it. Now, here's the other part. We kept talking about the education of a young quarterback. How about this for your 2-minute drill? 1:28, no timeouts. Your team needs a field goal. This is another part of that maturation process for him.
Well, he's going to get a quick drink of water.
He really looks ruffled there, though, doesn't he? I mean, he looks like a kid who's really tense, and that's what they're looking for out of their quarterback, a kid who wants to accept the challenge. Let's see how it turns out, but Detroit's defense has to feel good about what they did on the last possession.
Talking about young man in Wentz who had a rib injury, his first ever professional game in the preseason, 39 snaps, 24 pass attempts. Finds out 8 days before the season that he's going to be the starting quarterback after the trade of Sam Bradford. His team goes 3-0, and now here we are with 1:28 left in his 4th NFL start. And can he do what he's never done before in the NFL? Lead his team to a win on the final drive. Wentz today, 25 of 32, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns. But now it's money time, and the one thing that Doug Peterson said over and over, talk about Jared Goff, you talk about Paxton Lynch, you talk about anybody you want to talk about. He said the one thing I loved about Wentz is the guy knows how to win. And that's the name of the game. Don't get bogged down in stats. He knows how to win. And he do it today. Boy, he's airing this one out down the field in traffic, and it's intercepted by Darius Slay. Slay calls the fumble, and now he forces the first interception in the career of Carson Wentz.
Slay and Nelson Aguilar. And Aguilar has speed, wants to work, and Slay just gets right in his hip. And what Wentz is thinking here is put it up there and let my receiver make a play on the ball, but Slay really became the receiver. He spotted it and went for the football and essentially boxed out Aguilar from going for it. A tremendous play by Darius Slay.
He made a great play on the ball and a great catch, and Aguilar did his best to become a defensive back, but Slay became a better wide receiver than Aguilar did as a defensive back.
And now in victory formation, and that is something that the Lions have been unable to do since the first week of the season. So Darius Slay will be the guy they're talking about in the Motor City tonight. He forces the fumble by Ryan Matthews when Philadelphia had a chance to put this thing on ice. And then Wentz throws his first interception in his 134th career pass attempt.
And not a bad pass. He took a shot, but the defense, again, on the sidelines, what do we say? Somebody has to make the play. Well, your highest paid player stepped up and made plays, winning that football game by causing the fumble and making a great pick. Not a good interception. That was a tough catch to make by Darius Slay.
And for Jim Caldwell, perhaps some of the heat will finally be off him because it's really been on him here these last 2 weeks in particular.
Guys, we were talking about at the start. This was a huge game for Detroit. I think we all felt must win, no doubt about it.
Yep.
It's the first of a 3-game homestand for Detroit. If they're going to make a move, they had to have this one today. And now they got the next 2 looming. The Rams come here next week. It's a gut check day for the Detroit Lions, and they pulled it off.
And Darius Slay, I mean, he was playing for Jim Schwartz, you may remember. He was a starter his first ever game in the NFL and then was benched for nearly the entire season. Came back, had a decent second year. Then last year really stepped up his game, rewarded with a big contract, and he has delivered the goods on these last 2 possessions.
And that's why in the National Football League, you might even want to ask Carolina, that's why you pay corners. Because that's the game. It's from the outside in, not from the inside out.
And boy, that's a change, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So we know in early games, Minnesota will remain unbeaten. Denver will play later.